Hello there, welcome to another video. I'm another Magento dev. In this video, I want to talk about product imports. I did a live stream the other day and I started building out the header and having a chat on the live stream for sort of a Luma store build with sample data. So all the sample data is just, it's the usual stuff, the clothing and that. And the design that I'm building from for inspiration and for sort of guidance is a free template that I got, which is for a grocery store. So I thought to myself, before the next live stream, I'm going to put some data into my demo store. And then I thought to myself, well, I do this all the time. Like all I ever seem to do is data for clients from spreadsheets and getting it into the system, into Magento for them. Basically, because I've got the experience as a Magento developer to be able to debug things that are not quite right. So it makes more sense for me to do it for them. And it got me thinking, like, I use the same plugin and I have done for ages, and I've realised that if you don't know about it, you need to know about it, because Magento has its own stock import system, and it's pretty limited. Look, I mean, and if anyone's ever tried to use this, trying to get configurable products in, is a nightmare because of the syntax in the string, in the sort of additional attributes, I think it is, field in the column. It's an absolute nightmare to use. I use this. It's improved import export for Magento 2. And I've had a word with Firebear, and they're going to give me a discount code to give to you to get 10% off this, and it's another dev. So if you enter another dev at checkout and you want to buy this extension, after I've showed you sort of what it can do, but real basics in this video, bang that in at the checkout, and you only need the one, and you can run it on multiple Magentos. It's honestly, it's my most used plugin for the type of work that I end up having to do, which is predominantly data work. And I want to just show you how it works really, really quickly. And I want to do something quite complicated. I'm going to do a different video on configurable products because it's got really good, really sort of powerful sort of syntax, if you like, really easy syntax for importing configurables. But I'm just going to do some simple product imports today. With this sort of demo set of data for some groceries that I want to get into some new categories. But I'm going to do something a bit more complicated, because I want to keep the products that are in there, all the clothing, and I want to make this a bit more like an Asda or a Tesco's, where they have the clothing bit and they have the groceries bit. So what that means for me in my store is that I'm going to be sort of jigging how the category structure is going to work. I'm going to be reformatting these categories, which if you was to do it manually, it'd take you ages. Like to add a clothing category and put all the clothing in it, you'd have to drag and drop it in here. I'm going to show you how we can do it in a spreadsheet. But first, we're just going to go through a quick simple product import. So another good thing about this, I've probably noticed, is that you can do it from a Google spreadsheet. You can do it, collaboratively in one of these sheets. Everyone can work on it, and then you can run an import, and you don't need to be passing Excel spreadsheets to and fro and uploading them in the system and ending up with a load of detritus on your actual Magento. So this, by the way, came from the export capability of the import export. So I downloaded a CSV using the export functionality, and once you've got the plugin installed, you go to System, Improved Import Export, and I use this to get the products out, and it's just a basic export, dumps everything, and then I'm going to be using this to get it in. So I've got a products import, and it goes from a Google sheet. So real brief setup of this. You can actually get it to index after. I'm having a bit of trouble with this page, with these pages loading in developer mode. Hopefully it'll sort itself out. Something to do with the caches being invalid. There we go. You can reindex afterwards, so that's quite handy. Category products. You can set some indexes to go off after each minute. This is a good setting. You can only update, which is quite, it's good for production environment. So you're never really adding anything. You can never deleting anything or replacing anything. You're only updating information, which I'm going to use in a minute. But add an update is what I'm going to do for this simple product. And then basically you paste in your Google sheet URL. So in this one, I'm going to start by importing these simple products. So the same thing, this is all you need really for to build products, simple products in Magento. You need visibility, description, what product websites they're going into. So I'm going base, so basically can go into any website. I'm only running the one. Product type, attribute set code, and an SKU. And I know these are all foodstuffs, but they're only pretend. And this is a good one though. This is how we build categories. So default category, and I want a groceries category, and then I want everything in a groceries category, but within there's a big problem with that one, but within their sections. So that gives you a clue. Now you can pick whatever you want for this. It exports in this format, and if I wanted to like put this in another category, I'd have like a comma, and then I'd go from the top again, default category. Say I wanted to put it in sauces as well. See these are a saucy bean. That'll go into both. That'd go into both categories now, comma separated. And you tell the plugin that, look here. So I'd say, look, multi-character separator is comma, and category level separator is a forward slash. But we won't do that right now. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I'm grabbing the images just off the internet, look, and I'm setting all three so they appear correctly in the catalogue. Incidentally, when you do an import, and this will be the same for a Magento stand import, is if you don't specify an image in one of these, it won't just, say for example, you don't specify a thumbnail image, which is using the category, it'll just show you the Magento holding image. It won't. You'll have to go into the products then, and you got to specify it basically. I found out that the hard way when I named this wrong on a massive import of about 20,000 products. It was something like that. I'd spelled it wrong. None of the category image shown, and I was like, is that indexes? Do I have to rebuild the index? And it was because, you know, in the admin it hadn't been assigned as an image. You know, you get the three, you get to assign it. It's like a multi-select base image thumbnails. It hadn't been assigned. Got to, even if it's the same image, got to include it. Obviously these are mandatory fields that are always best putting in. So I'm going to add all these with a quantity of 10. So far so good. Very similar to Magento's native import, to be fair, this one. But when you run it, you get a little bit more control. So you get a lot in terms of import behavior. So you have to set it to products for this one. I could clear out old categories when I'm moving things around. I could remove old images. I could remove upsell products and then import new ones. I can create new URL patterns if I want to. There's loads of stuff I can do here. You get loads more than sort of what Magento usually offers. And I can target a specific root category if I want to, but I don't need to because I've only got one. And then you have a few good ways of doing configurable products, which I'm going to go into more detail in another video. But look, you can create configurable products from all these different rules. Which is really handy. I'm going to show you a real good way of doing it in my next video. So I'm going to run this now. So once this is in, you go once your spreadsheet URL's in, and it was 50. Just double check 655 at the end. Nah, it's this one. I've not put it in, so I want to paste it from here. So it's 5949 at the end, and I want to import these products into my catalogue. So for anyone who hasn't done a simple product upload anymore, this is how we do it. You can defer the image import. I'm not going to. Yeah, right. I'm set. So I'm going to click save and run. And I click run. It's real nice. You get a little debugging console which shows you any errors that you might have. And if anybody's done a few of these before, you get a lot of errors, particularly when Magento's native import stops on errors and you don't know what the error is. You have to look at logs and that. You send an absolute time sink in it. But this, look, there we go, it's Reindex for me. And now if I have a quick look at my categories first of all, it's created my groceries category down at the bottom and it's put everything in it. I should be able to see my products in here. Yep, there they all are with the images, so they're pretty nice. I might have to reindex, but we'll have a pop on the front end and see if it's there. Oh, it's there, look, groceries. I've got some beans. Right. So it's catch me back. Now I've got to run a full reindex for this to sort of kick in, and I'm just going to do it over here on my other console, but you can't see it, but you have to take my word for it. So I'm just going to run index or reindex, and I think it's because the Firebear native processes, I don't think they rebuild Elasticsearch, so I think that's why you get this problem in there. And once that's run, there we go, they're in there. they're in there. Nice little simple products, bean section, all my different sections. So I know it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I wanted to obviously do it because the next live stream I do, I'm going to be starting from this point where I wanted to, you know, make it more of a grocery store, and now I want to move the these categories into another category. So I'm going to end up with 2 on the top line. I'm going to end up with a clothing category as well, and this is a little bit more complicated. So I've got my export of all the SKUs here. Right, and now I need to get a clothing. I need to get clothing in between here, so it creates a clothing category. Now you won't come to this video to watch my Excel skills, so I'm going to keep it real simple. To which I do have like top level Excel skills. You have to. No one else will do it. Muggins. So I'm going to find default category, and for every time I find default category, I'm going to add in. I'm going to change it to default category. I need to spell it right, otherwise I'm screwed. Category / clothing / because I need it to sort of fit in every time, right? So we'll give this a go. Specific range, replace all. Right then. So that looks to me as if it's going to move them. Now there is an option in the plugin to be able to remove all categories. Now there's only a few here, and you know what I'm like for a manual process. I like the odd manual process just to make sure things are right. So I'm just going to move them, and then I'm going to delete the others manually, you know, the old categories manually. So I want to make sure that it's more important for me that this import is successful, and I'm not too worried about what categories they end up in. But that, to me, I just want to check this. So we've got default category. It's going to create clothing and then put that in gear. And you can see there's a example here of 2 category levels. This is going in gear and bags, and I'm banging in the clothing category in between. So let's give it a go. I haven't tested this yet, so it's a proper on the fly. If you see Richie and Eddie in the Ferris wheel, then you know what's going to happen. Here we go. So I need the new URL, so it's a different tab. Each one of these tabs comes with a different URL. So I need to grab this one and bang that in here. Validate it. So you click validate, it just does its thing when you put a new URL in. Yeah. For some reason, in this install of it, I've installed it on my local machine, you get a little green validate sign normally saying this has been validated. It ain't coming up, don't know why, but that's validated. I'm going to go save and run, and I'm going to run it. And there was 7,000 instances, so this one's probably going to take a little bit longer to do. But it does, I mean, when working locally, I ain't ever really had that many timeouts unless I make a mistake and it causes an error. Sometimes on production servers, if your user ini, you know, if your ini settings for your max input vars and that are quite low, big imports you are going to struggle with. You can do some other stuff with this, like cron. You can run these on a cron. I don't advise it because they take a lot of juice out of your system, and if you're running it a product import every few minutes, then you're going to cause your site some real laggy issues. But if you're running a midnight import of product stock or something like that, it's pretty useful. You can set it all up in the UI. Right, that's all gone through, 80 rows. And I just want to have a look at the categories. So we should have a new clothing category, yep, and it's at the default category level, yep, there, and it's got 2,000 products in it. That's looking good. Gear's got 46, look, 46. Alright, this looks good. Let's just have a quick check of gear. Tell you what, I'll just run my indexes again and check the front end. That'll be the best idea of whether it's worked. But as you can see, that what I just did there would be virtually impossible. It'd be very difficult to do using Magento's native system. It'd definitely take longer because you know you can't sync it from a Google sheet, so it'd definitely take longer. But as you can see, this makes things quite easy, and I've really come to depend on it. I almost see it as Magento's default. There we go. Now I've got There we go, bags are in bags. So now I'd just basically remove the categories. It's not going to take me long just to go in. And no, in fact, yeah, I thought it'd move them, but it hasn't. It's duplicated the categories. That's fine. So I'd just go in and just get rid of the old categories. And I won't bore you with that, but next time on my next live stream, this will all be in place. I hope that has been useful for you. A real quick whistle-stop tour of how to do an import-export, or an import, using the import-export plugin by Firebear. As I say, if you want it, there's much more functionality than, I mean, absolutely loads I can show you actually. This is like a master spreadsheet what I use, which gives you a guide, real good docs essentially of how to structure your spreadsheets. I'm going to put this in my description anyway because it's pretty useful for Magento native imports for you if you don't want to invest in the plugin. But look, you can see what it does. Look, stock sources, you can do categories, you can do customers, you can do orders, advanced pricing, Magento 1 to Magento 2 formats, also CMS blocks if you want to. Can even do URL rewrites, which is proper useful sometimes, you know, when a client's got loads that you just generally stick in your Nginx or htaccess content, htaccess files. You can import them using this plugin, and it works, and it's brilliant. Yeah, so 10% off at the checkout if you type in another dev. I hope this has been useful for you, and I'll see you in the next one.